Hello, 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 and welcome to another edition of Around the Grid Weekly.
I'm your host, Creamy.
And I am your host, Zach. And we start today's show with some more news coming straight from the grid. Did you notice, Creamy? It's Spooktober.
Okay, whatever that means. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, it's October, and as you may have noticed, all around Second Life, everything has one single theme. Have you noticed what it is?
Well, no, but hey, I have a question for you, though. Do you know what ghosts eat for supper?
What do ghosts eat for supper, Creamy?
Spook Eddie.
What did you just say?
Spook Eddie. Spook Eddie. Spook Eddie. What's the most important subject of
Seriously.
which learned in school? What's the most important subject of which learned in school?
I don't know. What is the
Spelling.
most important?
Spelling. Spelling. I think I'm hilarious.
Well, Creamy thinks he's hilarious, and to tell you the truth, she is. But we're not going to let her know that. Now, it's true, everywhere around Second Life, it's all about that sweet, sweet pumpkin, that sweet, sweet spook, all of those skeletons, and all around, it's all over the place. Just scary Halloween.
But I thought Spooktober was kind of like an event, like a shopping event. Is it not?
Well,
I mean,
if you look around, all of the events currently going during this month are most of them Halloween related. We call it Spooktober because it's basically what it is. Throughout the month of October, you go to all of the events and you will find a lot, and I mean a lot, of Halloween related things. And you'll see further on during the show how that actually relates because that's how
okay,
it's
so
happening.
but whatever happened to Oktoberfest? You know, a reason to drink beer.
Well, we don't drink beer anymore. We go around and I guess we showcase that we know everything about Halloween.
Okay, you keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, I know nothing about Halloween because I'm not
Okay,
even from the States, and Halloween is a very American thing.
is it really?
It is. It is a very American thing.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, but it is.
I didn't know that. But there's a
Anyway,
lot of things that are very American. But okay, so yeah,
there are very various things that are very American. But moving on.
yes, we've westernized everything.
Yes, you have. Moving on, the Skill Gaming free-to-play fair is up and about.
And what
Have you
is
heard about
that?
this?
No,
Well, I know you love going gambling on your what is it that game that you usually play?
great.
Yes, you love going gambling on Greed, but as you know, there are many other machines, and probably on that Greed sim of yours, there's probably plenty other machines that you can play and gamble your money and get some money in return. Have you tried any of those? Creamy? I think we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty. I can't hear Creamy right now.
Awesome. I said okay. So
Ah, here you go. Have you tried any of those gambling machines at the sim? We're gonna try and get back to Creamy. Meanwhile, while we're trying to get back to Creamy, what I can tell you is that all of these machines, they are now available on a single event called the Skill Gaming Free-to-Play Fair.
I think it's a conspiracy.
Oh, there you are. Now you're back.
Yeah. It's a
What is
conspiracy. Nobody wants to hear what I had to say anyway, so.
Nobody wants to hear you? No, everybody wants to hear you, but for some reason, we keep having issues with your voice. So, as
That's
I
what I
was
said. It's a
telling everyone,
conspiracy.
yeah, I think it is. As I was telling everyone, there is a new event called Skill Gaming Free to Play Fair. It is open. Um, you can play for free on all of those machines that usually you have to pay for. That gives you a chance to learn how to play them And of course, you can win Lindens playing them.
But if you play for free, do you still win Lindens? Because I don't know if that's true. Because
I think
the way it's set up now is when you have to pay to play. There's only certain states, at least from the United States, there's only certain states that can get into these sims.
well,
And there's certain states that cannot.
yeah.
So
What the article from Linden said is that they were giving prizes anyway
oh,
on games like Spin to Pot, Lucky Rainbow, Deal Classic, and For to Play Classic. Unfortunately,
okay,
and I just noticed now also from the article, um, this went on and it was a good event. It lasted for a weekend and it ended on the 30th.
oh,
I
it's okay.
hope
I can get in anyway.
I hope a lot of our viewers had a chance to visit it, but it was a good chance to actually learn how to play and how to gamble on these games.
Yeah, so that's what everybody needs is another vice, right?
Oh yes, everybody needs another vice in Second Life.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Also, news from Linden Labs: Second Life Blogger Network is open.
What is that?
Well, as you know, there are plenty of bloggers on Second Life. I have tried to convince you to become a blogger multiple times.
Yeah, I'm just not smart enough to do that.
No, you just prefer doing only the photos. You don't like to write what you're wearing and all of that. That's
I'm not smart enough to do that.
blogger. Yes, you are. The idea of
That's my
Second
story, and I'm
Life.
sticking to it.
Well, you claim that. I know otherwise, and I know that the only reason you don't do it is because you're lazy.
Shh. Shh. Don't tell anybody that. Dang.
Oh, sorry.
He's giving away all my secrets.
Did I just give away your secrets? I am so sorry.
Yes. Damn it. Don't be doing that.
Now the Second Life.
I'll have to be telling them about a pink dress.
Oh, shut up. Let's carry on. Nobody needs to know about that.
Ask me later, I'll tell you.
The Second Life blogger network.
Yes.
As there are so many bloggers that deal with showcasing fashion and other things in Second Life, the community was created to promote high quality independent blogging. And so
What
it gives away. Yes, go on.
what sets apart high quality from not high quality?
I think it's just a division if it's you doing it or not.
Of course it is. Good answer. Good answer. Great save. Okay, continue.
Now, what happens is that Second Life put at the bloggers' availability the Second Life community pages, social media channels, and all of that, so that all of the blogs can be shared a lot easier.
You mean shared between themselves?
With the Second Life community, basically.
Okay. Okay.
I heard that you have to agree to the terms and conditions when you join the network, of course. So you agree to comply with Second Life standards, community standards, and the basic TOS. No
You can't get in. You can't get in unless you agree to those, can you? I mean, really?
Well, no. When they mean the community standards and the TOS is, yeah. For example, you don't do nudity or anything like that.
Oh.
So
you mean
all
rules?
articles, yeah, all articles have to be according to their standards.
I get you. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, I'll interrupt you later. Continue.
So they say, says that what they want to influence the blogger's editorial content, sorry, but they get to pick what does and doesn't appear on the pages. Meaning
bloggers
you connect your blog to the blogger network, but Linden Labs decides if your article is going to show on their pages or not.
Oh.
So if they feel like what you posted is not adequate for what they want, they can very well not.
So that's why we started this, because we're so politically correct.
Of course.
Okay. No, we're not. Sorry.
They choose what they include and all of that. So yes, so they will do it as they want. But all in all, I mean, it is a good way to showcase to get your blog out there in the community, and to get the Second Life community to see your blog.
if
What do you
it's
think?
selected.
If your
Didn't you
article is
say
selected.
Linden Labs decides whether or not it's going to go?
Yes, if your article is selected, then yes,
Yeah,
that is true.
yeah. Otherwise, you're
I
just like the
mean,
rest of us.
yeah, yes, that is true. So, Creamy,
It's okay.
I heard you saw something funny last week, and you wanted to show us.
Well, one or two things, yeah. Um, there was an event starting the 1st of October, going through the 15th of October.
Oh, the 1st of October.
Yes, the
Well,
1st of October.
somebody should clearly check their grammar.
Yeah, because sometimes it sucks. Now, we understand that English is not always everybody's first language. Like, it's not Zach's first language. We haven't quite figured out what Zach's first language is yet, though. But so
You're right.
understand, we're not making fun of you. We're just laughing with you, not at you, because we appreciate the effort, but sometimes it comes out really funny. Yeah.
On other news, there appears to be some news also coming from Linden Labs that they are going to let us change our names.
Yes! Yay for that! I am excited about that.
They didn't give a lot of details yet. They're still in preparations for it. From what I hear, it should be available still this year, but you
And
should
that
be able to
includes first
then.
and last names, too.
Exactly, you should be able to change
So
your
we're not all
first
going
and
to be
last name.
resident.
If you're tired of being a resident, that's your chance.
Yes. Yay. I think that's exciting. How long, but let me ask you this. How long has that been in the works? Do you know?
I have no idea how long they have been working on that.
Okay, let me rephrase the question. Has that been in the works as long as your mirror deal?
Oh, you mean my wish?
Yes.
Because that's just what happens when you wish upon a Linden. This is our new
Right,
segment for today.
but how
But
long
I
has
don't
that been?
think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
There have been rumors um of name changing for a while, but I don't think it has been as long as the mirror stuff.
Because I
Now,
know you've got a name issue going on too. So I
yes,
figured you'd be on top of that.
yes, my issue is the following, and that's why I started this one. I want mirrors in Second Life. I do photography. Creamy does photography. I love the idea of being able to take a mirror photo without having to place myself in one pose ball, then place myself on the other pose ball with my camera exactly on the same place, take those two
So
pictures, and then Photoshop them.
why isn't there mirrors?
According to Linden Labs, it would be chaotic. It would cause the engine would not handle it because people would start making enough mirrors to showcase multiple times and cause an infinite loop. Now, if that is their concern, they could very well just limit the number of loops they do. Mirror
You can
once,
do that.
mirror twice at most. Yes, they can. They're, I mean, they're Linden Labs. They're the ones controlling the code. They should be able to do that.
If they don't know how to do that, can you show them?
No, I can't. That
Oh,
is not my job.
okay. I'm just asking.
That is clearly not my job. But I have
But
seen. The thing is, there's been a request for the mirror changing for years, and when I say years, as far as I remember, it is at least since 2010, I think.
that's nine
There's been a
years.
there's been a Jira request for that, and it's an ongoing request, and it's always denied, and
And the
it
thing about
always
it is you know enough about the code and what they do that you can
I
speak intelligently about it and say, yes, it can be done. You know
yes,
it can be done.
it's not only that. You know it can be done just by looking at the fact that they can do mirroring in water. If you go, you have reflections in water. So why
That's
not
true.
have a prim that reflects?
That's true.
The other reason that I know that it works is somebody actually made a mod for the original Second Life viewer, an old viewer, where you could actually have mirrors. So it has been proven that it works.
You mean an external mod?
Yes, and you're seeing
Oh,
you're seeing pictures of those of that mod, for example. Those are the pictures that are rolling around.
oh,
That
well,
mod
that's
has been
interesting.
done 10 years ago almost.
How many?
So almost 10 years ago.
No.
When the Jira came out, they were suggesting the mod, and they gave suggestions as to what could be done. And Linden Labs basically said, no, we can't do that because it's going to create chaos and it's going to break our system. Well, it's been several years. They should be able to do it by now. Systems have evolved. They have
Has there
more
been
power.
even any mention of it from them? I mean, at all?
No, there hasn't been any mention. And whenever anyone asks, they just say it can't be done, and they won't do it.
What about that Zanzibar thing?
The what now?
Is that right? That Zanzibar? Is it Zanzibar?
Sensor, the sensor
Yeah.
thing.
Is
Yeah,
there are there mirrors there?
that is their other project. I have no idea if they have mirrors. If anyone knows if
I'll
they
bet
have
they do.
mirrors, leave us a message. Um,
I'll bet they do.
and but it's been a long time. And yes, there may be a possibility that Sensor does allow for mirrors, but Sensor has a difference according to Second Life. In Second Life, you can build at all times. In Sensor, you can't.
Why?
Build your. It's not like Second Life. It's not like
Oh,
everyone comes in and builds stuff all over the place. No, you build your own world, and I think it gets a little bit static. Correct me if I
oh.
am wrong.
I don't. I can't correct you because I don't know anything about it. But that is pretty
Well,
cool.
uh, that would be a great thing, having mirrors. I really, really want mirrors. A possibility to reflect things on a surface, because that would make photos become a lot better.
But now is that what they were saying about how they would like double up on themselves? Is that what they were saying? Like would break their system?
Well, imagine the following. You create a mirror in front of you. You create a mirror behind you. One mirror reflects the other continuously and forever.
Indefinitely,
And
right?
and so how mirrors work when it comes to programming is they have to duplicate the content of the world into a separate basically into a separate world that is just inside the mirror. So imagine that being repeated multiple times and you see how it can crash a system.
I think I can, although I'm not sure I know enough to be able to wrap my head around what you just said. But that's okay. I'm blonde. Okay, but do you know what
Yes,
I do know?
what do you know?
I do know how to spend your money.
Oh, come on. Not my wallet again. Why do you do
It's too
this to
late.
me?
Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I'm an expert at spending Zach's money, and I don't think anybody else could do any better job.
Where did you take my wallet for a ride this time?
Well, first let's start out Neo Japan.
Okay, Neo Japan then.
Yeah,
So we went to Neo Japan, yes. Their event is always fantastic. It's always an amazing thing.
I like their
They
stuff. Yeah.
as their tagline says, they're bold, they're creative, they're individualistic, and they have amazing items such as
This
this
one's really cool.
arm and eye thingy. I still don't understand exactly what it is,
It's
but
armor.
it looks great. Is it armor?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like a scouter for your eye, so you can check what it is,
Right.
what you're looking at. Plus, of course, communicator for your mouth, and then some sort of an arm weapon.
Yeah. It just looks really cool. I would love to have something like that. But of course, obviously, that's for men. Did that? I wonder if
No,
that
not
comes in a
exactly.
female version.
I think they do come in female version. If you look at the pictures, on the bottom pictures, they showcase at least one female wearing the
And
two
and
pieces of headgear, and I'm assuming that the arm gear also works
and who made
for a
this?
female. I Oh, that is a great question.
Bauhausen.
Let me see if I
Bow
can remember.
starts with a B.
Um,
Movement.
Start
Something
with B.
movement.
It was the Bauhaus movement. Yes,
Movement.
Bauhaus movement
Yes.
made
Yes.
this
Yes.
one.
Yes. Yes. They really I love their stuff. They're really unique and come out with some good stuff. So what else did we find there?
They do make incredible stuff. What else did we have? So we had a new exclusive from Caboodle.
Caboodle. I've got their ballerina socks. I love that. Yeah. So what is this? Okay. So
Your ballerina socks from Caboodle?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Every week.
I didn't know that. So this is a jacket, leggings, and top combination. I really like the jacket with the different mottos on the back. You can't see it very well here, but go to New Japan and you will see it there, and you can try
This
this
looks
on.
really back to schoolish, don't you think? I think it was really cute.
It does look pretty back to school, but then again, it is October, and the event did start in September. That's just the right time for it. It's a good item for autumn. Um,
Now
Even if the legs are cut up a
it looks
bit.
like the pants maybe turned into shorts, or is that just a band of lace on the pants?
They have a band of lace in the middle.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
think they turn into shorts. It's just a band of lace.
That would be an interesting idea, though. Nice colors too.
It
I
would be
really like.
interesting. Yeah, the flowers
Yeah,
and the very uh, the very bright colors. It is.
and I'm guessing the shoes don't come with it, right?
The shoes do not come with the outfit. No.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody knows that. Oh, this is one of my picks. This is so elegant, and because we spend a lot of time here at Schwann, this would be really appropriate. It's so pretty and so elegant. And when's the Chinese New Year again? Can you tell me that?
I am not entirely sure, but I'm
I
sure
know
we'll
it's
be
not
able
our New
to
Year,
tell you soon. No, it
but
isn't. It isn't. It
that would be
isn't.
something fun to wear for the Chinese New Year. Is the reason I asked. Now this is
Mm,
by Exia. If is that right? Exia.
this is by Exia. Yes, you
Yeah,
would look gorgeous
and
in
they've got the
this.
3 different colors there too, right?
Yes, they do have those three
Just
different colors.
really beautiful. Is this animated? You remember how they were talking about animating clothes? I wonder if that's animated. I wonder if it's flowy.
Well, no. They still animated mesh is still not a thing. Well,
Okay,
unless you count for Animesh.
I thought
But
that's what it was.
Animesh on clothes, there are a couple of things like capes and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it's not like it moves when you move. It just moves by
Oh,
itself. I once
it's
saw
kind of
it.
AI.
Yeah, I once saw. No, it's not AI. It has a specific animation set into it, and it moves
Oh,
always through to that animation. It loops
oh,
through that animation. I
regardless
once
of what you do.
saw. Yeah, I once saw a cape, an Animesh cape that you could have, and it doesn't matter what you did. It just moved exactly the same way always.
Oh, it's like just repeated. Okay, I get it. I
Yeah,
get it. I
repeated,
get it.
repeated.
Yay, yay. Yeah, but I loved this. I thought this was just very elegant.
It is. It is. It is beautiful. It is a gorgeous outfit. Now, I'm a sucker for hair. I love looking at good hair. And honestly, I found this hair from Monso to be it's a dashing piece of hair.
I couldn't wear
Um,
that hair though.
as I told Creamy, it's not exactly the hair for Creamy. She looks a lot better with long hair than short. But it is a fantastic set of hair for
It's good for pictures. I can see how you could use that with pictures. That would be a great
yeah,
effect.
yeah. It gives an amazing Asian look. I gotta check if Sai would like this hair.
Oh, she just
uh,
sent us something about the mirrors.
oh, okay, cool. We'll have to have a look at that at some point.
Yes. Yes.
And now I really like this hair, and I think I know a couple of people who may like it as
I
well, and we'll have to have a
I
look.
think I do too. And they do a pretty good job of pictures too.
Okay.
And who's this? Oh, this is by Monso, right? And it's okay. Good.
That
Okay.
is by Monso, yes.
Okay. Oh, this is. I love this. This was so cool. This is a believe it or not, this is a greyhound dog.
Yeah, yes, one of the great examples of animesh going around.
That's what this is animesh?
That is an animesh greyhound.
Okay, but he's supposed to be some kind of cyborg or it's not your stereotypical, warm fuzzy little frou-frou doggy.
No, not at
This
all.
guy's pretty killer. Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. This is a cyber greyhound animesh. Um, you can have control over how it moves, and you can play with it. You can make it your dog, have it follow you, or just having around loose around the house.
And who's that?
This one is from Resroom. I think I'm having issues again with having you on the sound. But yes, this is a cyber greyhound from Resroom. Multiple colors, uh, lots of animations. It is an amazing piece of work. Welcome back, Creamy. Or maybe not.
I didn't hear you.
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm having issues. Sorry. So bear with me.
You always
We'll
have
get through it.
issues.
Shh. I'm blonde though, so give me a break. This
And finally,
oh, this is the
Japan.
Forge.
Exactly.
This is from the Forge, right?
That is from the Forge. I think it's one of
This
your
was this was
favorite
my
forges
pick.
or
I
weapons.
love the Forge's stuff. I just love them. I have got this animated uh, chainsaw from them. Their stuff is so detailed. It is just spot on. Just good job, Forge. Just mwah, good job. It's just cool.
Okay, and that
Don't
was
you have
our.
something from them?
I think I have a Buster Sword from them. From Final
Buster your
Fantasy.
ass sword or what? I mean,
Yes, it busts my ass. For
okay.
for Final Fantasy VII outfit that I have.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I just love their stuff. I even chance. They've got some awesome clothes too. Not just the weapons. Good job.
That was our outing with New Japan. Then, of course, Osmia is having
Sale
a sale, 50% sale, if I'm wrong, if I'm not right, if I'm not
on
wrong.
the fat pack.
On the fat packs, yes, only on the fat packs. So Creamy
Yes.
went to Osmia, and what did you see there?
Well, I saw a lot of stuff there that I really enjoyed and that you'll be getting the bill for later, I'm sure. This first one is the Tanya. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Tanya. Okay, it's a cute outfit. It's a
It
sweat
does look
outfit.
cute.
It is really cute. You get and like of course see all the colors there. The fat pack is listed there. I like the dual colors on everything. It's not just one solid color on everything. And I believe if and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can also customize the writing on the side seam there of the pants. I believe that can be customized as well.
Oh, that would be interesting. But even if it just shows their writing, I mean, it's a brand that's branding in the outfit. It still looks amazing.
Can I brand you?
No.
Oh, darn.
I'm already branded. Why do you want to brand me again?
Because I'd like to put a hot iron in the fire and then put it right on your butt.
And that just hurts.
Nothing like the smell of burnt flesh.
Oh, I like
Okay,
this one.
I do too. I like this one. And no, this is almost like the one I got, but it's not. And like I said, the 50% sale is only on the fat packs, but you can see the top and the pants. I really like the patterned pants. I mean, the solid color ones are fine, but I really like the the pattern pants, especially this plaid right here. I could do so many things with that, and it's so unusual and so.
You like to go around looking very Scottish.
Oh, I think I'm a bit I think I am a bit Scottish.
You're
Well,
a bit
I'm a
of
Heims
everything.
57 anyway. I'm just a nut. So, but yes, and the colors here are great, great fall colors. It looks really well, really good on, and it comes with the belt as well. The belt's included on the pants.
And as
So those
usual
are really
with Osmia, it looks very classy as well.
very classic. And another thing too, because they're shorter pants, you get to show off your shoes too.
Oh, that's always a must.
For me,
Okay,
especially.
so here we go back to the cheetah
Okay,
patterns
so
or the
you'll
leopard
notice the top
ones.
to the where the shorts are is also the top for the dress. So you can buy the top or you can buy the dress, and they all come in the same colors. This dress is just sexy and as sexy as you can imagine. The slit goes all the way up to there, and great colors. I love animal prints. I'm really into animal prints lately. I don't know why, but maybe it's because you just bring the animal out in me. I don't know. But yeah,
I do love the colors. The prints do look good, and according depending on what you mix with them, they tend to look very good, and they tend
well, but
to
the
give
dress you
you
can't mix anything with. I mean, the dress is.
well, it does look like a very sexy outfit. I bet that's gonna cost me on the wallet.
But
Okay,
oh,
let's
and
see
this
if
is
we can
really
get.
cute too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I like the dungaree. It's and I like the detail of the little
pinky.
yes, I like it. I really like
And you
it.
can wear it with or without the shirt too. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did notice.
Yeah.
Of
So this
course,
is really cute.
for the purpose of this stream, we would always wear it with the shirt on.
Seriously? Really? You're telling me that?
I just don't want you to falling on us.
Well, that's almost an invitation for me.
I know.
But yeah, I thought this was really cute, and it even though it's shorts, it's actually very fall colors. So great coming in. It's really classy too.
Okay. And oh, that is a fantastic top. I really like that. I really like the pattern there.
It's very lacy.
Yeah, the lace there is very detailed. It looks great.
Yes, it's very lacy. And the skirt comes in the same colors as the top, so you can mix and match. And I think all the colors mix and match with each other very well.
Okay, I definitely approve of you charging my card on this one. That's that is perfectly fine. You can do that. And that was it for Osmia. And of course, we carried on
Okay, and
until now
then
with
okay,
Pink
here's
Laguna.
you know the arcade. I the arcade's kind of bittersweet for me
Why is that?
because as we discussed last week, they're gotchas,
Yes.
and gotchas just kind of don't set well with me. But the products are so friggin' awesome. This go round at the arcade, I had a hard time narrowing my choices down. They were just so awesome.
Let's have a look at what you got.
Good job, you guys. So the first one, this is very back to schoolish. I just really loved it with the skates, and it's just so cute and modern and
I really
sassy
like the scarf.
and folly. I just love this. I just wish it weren't gotcha. So I'm gonna wait till this comes out on Marketplace, and then you can buy it for me.
Okay, with the scarf, I hope.
And this is Karina, I think.
Yes, this is Karina. The I mean, I really like. I'm not even sure if those are skates. I think they're just really, really tall shoes.
I don't know. They look like inline skates to me. I could be wrong. I've been wrong once before. No, I thought I was wrong, but I was wrong.
Ah. And of
Oh
course,
yes,
the tiaras.
Yes, every girl wants to grow up and be a princess, and this is one of those gotchas that I don't have a problem with because no matter what you get, you win. I mean, because you go in wanting a tiara, you're going to come out with a tiara. You can't lose here. Now, this kind of gotcha, I don't mind. So, but yes,
They look very intricate.
yes, they're very detailed. They're very prissy, very really very girly. They're just so cute. So yeah, I wouldn't
I
mind
think
wearing a little princess tiara because I'm a princess.
I think they suit you. Of
Yes,
course,
they do.
Scandalize. I really love their outfits. We've already discussed why. Um, and this is a great choice. Even the shoes are.
The shoes,
Uh,
exactly. The shoes come with it.
they're
Well, not with it,
cute.
but yeah,
They are very cute.
very and
Of course,
very
the shoes
detailed.
are
Yeah,
rare.
yeah. Of course, there. See, and that's see. Once again, we get around to my problem with the gotchas. Once again, I'll just wait till it comes out on marketplace and I'll buy the set, or you'll buy the set.
But
So let me get all the colors.
it is a very colorful and very cute outfit. Yes.
Yeah, you get those the number of colors. You can either buy one color or you can buy the fat pack. The number of colors that they offer is just incredible. I like scandalized stuff too. I own a number
There's
of them.
just one thing that I have to complain about Scandalize. Their ads always look phenomenal.
And
Everything
you're
looks
complaining?
perfect on their ads. Wait,
Okay.
but the fact they look perfect is because if you look closely at Scandalize's ads, I believe or I have serious doubts that the pictures of the clothes on those models are actually taken on Second Life. And they are taken most likely in something like VAS 3D or something like that. So they can perfect it. They can make it look the best they can. But in my opinion, it gets a little bit misleading in that case, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, if the picture is not taken from SL, I think it could be a little bit misleading. Yes, especially you don't know. I mean, if it's not taken in SL, you don't know that they haven't doctored it or so. Yeah,
Well,
demo, demo, demo.
the fact is, their outfits are always amazing and they work very
Yes,
well.
love scandalized, love it, love it. Yeah,
And another great one, Richelli.
yes. This is
That
such a
is
sexy, sexy outfit.
that is a
I
gorgeous
mean,
corset.
it is beautiful. Just the whole outfit is beautiful. The jacket, the corset, the shorts. It's just borderline elegant, if you ask me. Good job. And the
It
colors
is.
available too. Yeah, good job.
Sexy and elegant, yes. Of course, and Uno, that is a casual look. It's
Yes,
not a
that's
look
why I like it.
we see you very usually in, but that is a casual look, and I think it would
And
suit you.
yeah, it's very back to schoolish too. I think. I just love back to school. I just think, yay.
Are you missing school? Is that it, Creamy?
No, I paid my dues already. No, no, no. Oh yes,
Of
love
course, you
love
needed
this
to
one.
have one like this. Yes.
Yes, because it's so me. Because I'm actually a closet exhibitionist without the closet, I guess.
Well,
And
that is different. I haven't seen something covering that much of the body in mesh in net uh, in a while. But that just looks amazing.
well, see, and this is another one of those gotchas that you can, when you go play it, you can come out a winner. You're going to get, you may not get the color, but you're going to get the product that as you see it. So this is one of the gotchas that I don't have a problem with because you're always going to come out a winner. Now this
That
one
is
is
a back to
another.
school look.
Yes, I just really like the back to school look here, and this is really modern, really, really sassy.
I do
I
like
just really like this
the
one.
I do like the open hole, the open heart top. Um, the the hoodie also looks really good.
But see, here's
It has a little bit of a punkish look. The
yes,
entire
but the thing
outfit.
about this one is there's so many things that are offered, especially for me, somebody that's not that lucky. The chances of me coming out with an actual wearable outfit playing it are slim and none. It just won't happen. I'm just not that lucky. So
Well, there's plenty of chances here. So as long as you get a skirt, any skirt, and a hoodie, or and any set of boots, you're good to go. And even the
I would
headphones.
end out up with 27 pairs of headsets. Is what I would do. Is what would happen to me. Yeah.
Oh, here's a burlesque outfit.
Yes. This is just. I love anything just so really frou frou and this is just really feminine if you ask me. And I just love the details of something like this.
Very
And if
intricate. I like the detail of the gun. The gun looks very steampunkish.
yes, it's just lovely. And then two colors there too. And who's this by? I don't remember who this was by. Does it say?
Lewis, I
Lewis.
think.
Yes. And they have a great product too. Great product. And the dress of course is rare. I picked this one too, the furniture here, because it's just so nostalgic to me. It
Very
just looks like
classic.
it, exactly great clean lines, and it would fit in just any decor. I really like the colors because it's fall, and this would be great in a man cave, I think,
Well, yeah, I can
with a
tell
pool
it would.
table.
And
Okay,
this would, of course, be not a man cave, but a woman's bathroom.
absolutely yes. And I mean, I don't know about most of you ladies, but I cherish my me time, and most of my me time is spent in the bathroom because that's the only way I can get away from everybody. But I
Why,
love the
thank you.
colors here. No, sometimes the truth hurts, honey. But I love the colors here. I love the different pieces, the folded towels. The details on this are awesome. The rug, I and Zach, if you notice in the upper right hand corner or upper left hand corner, can you tell me what that is?
That is a mirror. Don't get me
Thank you.
started.
I
And
just wanted to make sure you do that.
last but not least, some more
I
frou-frous for Creamy.
yes, and see, this is another one of those gotchas that I think you can win with because the rares in this one are the arm pieces and just one of the our body suits. The dresses and the legs and the every shoes, those are all common. So you can go in and you can actually walk away with an outfit here. You don't
Or
have to
with
be lucky.
27 leg pieces.
Thanks. You remind
And
me, I'm
this
just not that lucky. Thank you.
that was the arcade.
Yeah,
Uh, I
love the
also
arcade
went
as well.
out. I also
Yes.
went out and got myself some. Had a look at some stuff. So I went to the men's department,
Ooh,
and I really like going around, and I like
this
trying
looks very
to
this
improve
looks
my
very
look.
Doctor Who-ish.
Yes, I thought that as well. The overcoat, the shirt just needs a tie there. But yes, I love the long coat and the multiple shirts underneath.
How long's these?
It's a mix of Doctor Who with Marty McFly with the
Marty
denim
Mc-
shirt. No, no, with the denim shirt on top of another shirt, and then the
Oh, the
doctor,
layers.
the
Yeah.
tenth, yeah, and then the tenth doctor's coat. But
Yes.
I really enjoyed the look.
I really like the
Also,
10th Doctor.
yes, I mean, who doesn't like Tenant? Another thing we saw was this hoodie. I love that monkey one. It just cracks me up.
That is pretty cute. I like the colors though. Are they mix and match or is it or are they already pre-matched for you?
I think they're already pre-matched, but I would have to have a look again. It gives you a very rebel look.
That's very back to schoolish too.
Kunst, as usual, with amazing
Can you say that
necklaces
3 times
and
real fast?
Kunst. I'm not going to say the wrong thing and
Okay. I'm
get us
just
in
checking.
trouble.
I'm just checking.
Kunst with an amazing obsidian necklace.
That's good. Got good clean lines. Very masculine. I like that too. actually.
Yes, very very good looking. I should actually get that one. It would look great on this suit right now. And I know you have a fascination with seeing me in hoodies. So I went out
Well,
and looked
actually,
at
that's
some.
not what my fascination with seeing you in is, but okay, we'll go with that for now.
We're talking about seeing me in, not seeing me out of anything.
Oh, okay. Okay, my bad.
So I went and looked at some more hoodies and MG
Those are
Men's,
interesting.
which I don't know why it's men's, but yeah, MG Men's had some cool hoodies that I looked at.
Are they all up? Are the hoodies all up on them?
Yes, they
Can you
are.
lay them down? Okay. And
They're all up.
these are for specific specific male bodies, correct?
Yes, they're available for Balesa, um, Signature,
Signature.
and I believe the TMP body probably.
Okay. TMP, I just thought it was belly up, isn't it? Legacy now.
Well, it's legacy for women, but I don't think it's legacy for men. I'm not sure.
Oh, we'll have to check into that. We're gonna have to look into that. We'll look into that for next week.
Yes, we'll look into legacy next week. And
Okay.
finally, Wazzer Works. Wowzer, that's what I have to say. They had an amazing outfit with a leather jacket, um, and a shirt, either a t-shirt or a help me out. What you call that?
A button-down polo.
Yeah, it's not exactly a polo, but yes, but it looks great. I really liked it. They
They
also had
also
some trousers, um,
trousers.
some
You're
tactical trousers.
so
You say
European.
pants, I said trousers. Okay. And
And
they
it's also
had
available for women.
this. Yes, they had a similar outfit for women, which means
Yes.
we could get that outfit. We could get those outfits and match.
And be Tweedledum and Tweedledummer.
You're no fun. And that was the men's department and
Hilarious.
our outing for this week.
Okay. And so now comes my favorite part of the show is a segment we call Seriously. Basically, this is where I get to rant about something that just really pisses me off. And
Oh yes, and what are you ranting about today?
oh my god, charging for demos. I just can't
Charging for
tell you,
demos, huh?
just really gets me sideways. I mean, I don't know if it's an ego thing where they think they're better than everybody else because I know it's not that they're.
Oh, I think we're having a couple of issues again with Creamy because we just lost her midway through rant, which is the worst time to lose her. Now, she's discussing about the demos and how some shops charge you for demos.
Okay,
Usually one linden, sometimes up to 10 lindens. Oh, you're back,
okay,
Creamy.
yeah, I'm back. Okay, so what I was saying is, I don't know if this charging for demos, this just really gets me sideways. Is I don't know if it's an ego thing because they think they're better than everybody else. I don't know if they think it's going to prevent some kind of theft of their things because I know that creators have got several different ways to prevent a theft of their things. Like I know one of the demos, they can make kind of like a time bomb. After 5 minutes, it blows up. Then of course the other one, of course, is wearing something hideous around your head while you've got the demo on. But it's it this is like me going into a store and having to pay to rent a changing room so that I could try something on to see if it fits. Look, my contention is this: if you make a decent product, stand behind it. If you make a decent product and you stand behind it, why do you need to charge for demos? Because it will sell itself, and
The,
it you will never catch me buying anything that somebody charges me for a demo. I just won't do it.
the only reason I
Sorry.
can see for charging for demos is situations where you want to gift, tell someone, oh, here, try this, so we can see if I can buy it for you or not. and Marketplace actually does not let you gift
Do that. Right.
anything that is zero Linden. So
So
if it
there's a way
was
around
situation
that
like
though
that,
too.
that's the only thing I would think of. But the way around it is here's
Send
the
them a link.
link.
Yeah.
Go and check this, get this item, and tell me if
Right.
you like it.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I won't pay for demos. I refuse to pay for demos. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I
Sorry.
understand you. I understand you. And having a shop, that is one thing that I don't do. I don't charge
And,
for demos because I feel like it's wrong.
and let me say this about that. In that, I, last week, my rant was about um
Gotchas.
gotchas. And come to find out, there's a lot of you out there that agree with me. And and I read this too. As soon as, um, who is it? Uh, as soon as, I don't remember, some country, I don't remember which country it is, but as soon as they decide that this is gambling, the gotchas are going to go away. Because
Well,
basically it's
pretty much,
gambling.
pretty much anywhere in Europe, the European Union has been setting very strict laws against gambling in video games, and that's what
Mhm.
Second Life is. In all truth, it's a video game. So as soon as
And
it goes to the
gotchas are
European
gambling.
Union, it becomes a situation of gambling, and
Yeah.
they may put stricter rules and get everything really screwed up.
Belgium. Belgium. They said as soon as Belgium decides it's gambling, it's going to go away.
Yeah, basically the European Union.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, while Creamy was busy, I went out and had a bit of a walk. I got a bit of a suggestion from Sai, actually, and I went and found a sim to showcase to all of you today. So Not while we're playing the thing. Okay. We're being told right now, and now I read it, and apparently we had no voice here. Now you should be able to talk, Creamy. We're right at the
Okay,
end of the video. We're right at the end of the
that's
video,
okay.
and
You
I'm
guys missed some
describing the
great
whole
jokes.
thing for no one.
You missed some
But
great
you
jokes.
you saw the entirety of the video, and you saw how the video goes.
Yes. Me? Yes. I still
No,
say
the
you look like you're in a
public,
bowling alley.
everyone watching.
Okay, yeah. I still say you look like you're in a bowling alley.
So they should be able to see it at some point
That's okay.
soon.
That's okay. He did most of the talking anyway, so you didn't miss anything.
Well, I was describing what we had here on this video, but that was my trip to INSILICO.
Yay. Yay. Now we come to one of my favorite times. Really, one of my favorite times is a segment we call SLArt, which is SL art.
SLArt.
SLArt. I know that sounds kind of ghetto, doesn't it? But it's
It is time
SL
for
art.
SLArt.
Yes. And
Okay, and who do we have today, Creamy?
we've got Neffi, a friend of yours and mine. Nefari is, but we call her Neffi.
Yes,
But
we
she
do.
too is a photographer.
Nefari.
There we go. She too
Yeah,
is a
we have Nefari
photographer,
Nandahar.
and she has recently gotten the new legacy body and a new head. She has just does the most excellent right there. Does the most excellent black and whites you could ever imagine. She and the thing about it is she puts a lot of thought into them. She writes a whole background story to the pictures, and you need to go check her out and read the captions to the pictures because they explain a whole story. She really puts a lot of thought and effort into her photos. Just
Yeah,
incredible.
her photos are amazing. I love her stuff. She sometimes asks me to go and help her out if she needs an extra on the photos. It's not very
Yes,
common, but she puts a lot of work into her stuff.
yes, her stories though are just as great as the pictures themselves. I just love the stories. She is truly an artist in every sense of the word.
She is. She is. I it's amazing how she finds um, a way to showcase her vision in such an impressive way.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't she like make her own sets when she goes to shoot a picture?
A lot of the times she does. A lot of the times she does make
Yeah,
her own sets. She sets everything up around her. She has a little sim where she does that, and she sets wherever she wants, and then she takes the picture. Also, she does not use Photoshop. She uses GIMP, meaning
right.
all of the changes that she makes. There's no. She's not very used to using layers and all of that. All of these are just done on the original picture with GIMP. I know GIMP does have layers, but it's a lot harder to work than Photoshop.
Yeah, I could never flow with GIMP. It just didn't click with me. But I
But
love this picture. Doesn't she look like Marilyn Monroe there? I mean, that is just lovely. That's just
it
lovely.
is it is a beautiful picture, as most
And
of her
once
pictures are.
and once again, her signature black and white. I just think it's awesome.
Now we are showing you her most safe for work content because just as last week with Velvet, Nefari does plenty of not safe for work pictures. So if you are not expecting to see anything not safe for work, I would suggest you don't go to her profile. Otherwise, feel free to go, leave her a note and say that we sent you, and send our love because she deserves everything. Um, her pictures are gorgeous.
Truly an artist. Yes, truly. Good job.
A real artist. That is
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was our show for today.
So what time does that make it? It's time for us to make like a tree.
make like a tree and leave. That's right.
And leaf.
So
Yes.
we'll see you next week at the same time, right here.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye. Have a great week.